This week on Keep It Clutch.
Like one of the big problems I had with job platforms that time is they charge you essentially for nothing. Like it's for putting up your job on a virtual notice board. And we want to build the fastest way to get jobs. We want the fastest way to get workers. We want the fastest hiring cycle.
I like it.
Period. Nairobi is a city that has it's a unique city. It has AI in it, right? Nairobi, right? I don't know who told Africans that they have to solve African problems only. I don't understand. I know we have many problems. We do. But, business is what happens when you combine problem and capacity to spend. You're going to find it when you get to the platform, you're going to see a logo like this.
Okay.
JobZico. So you're not going to miss it. If you want to post a job, it is free of charge. You just upload your CV, it will take care of everything else. It's going to get your name, it's going to get your email, it's going to get your number, it's going to get all of your work history. You will not need to set up anything.
Hello, welcome to Keep It Clutch. Today, I'm really excited to have Anthony Muiro here with us. We are going to hear about his jobs platform that he's created to connect talent with jobs that are out there. We're also going to hear about an AI community that he's building that is focused on agentic frameworks as well as SaaS products. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes. So Anthony, we met very interestingly. I think we met on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We met on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I saw you because you had a call for AI community, but we'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
But what is something people don't know about you? Something surprising?
So something most people don't know about me. I used to have hair longer than yours.
I mean, my hair is not that long. So.
Really? I think it's long. It's just curly.
Okay.
It's pretty long. It seems pretty long.
It's pretty long, yeah.
So I could actually do a ponytail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you used to have
if
a
you
top
can
knot?
imagine that. Yeah.
You're a top knot?
Yeah, I did.
You were those guys?
I was those guys.
Those were the bad boys in college. So which college did you go to?
My college, there's no way I could be categorized as a bad boy. I went to Juja Boys, JQuat.
Okay.
I don't think a bad boy would succeed much in JQuat.
In JQuat.
I mean, there's how many girls are there anyway? So like, but I went through like a streak of like creativity, and this was like actually after JQuat, by the way. I felt like there's a part of myself that I was not like putting out there. And I think like every once in a while, that spirit kind of like comes over me, and I will like go tangential.
We'll be confused. We'll be like, what happened to Anthony?
Yeah, like just every once in a while, I just feel like, okay, I need to like let myself like out creatively or expressively. And that, yeah, so that was one of those seasons around 2015.
You sound like you're still mourning your ponytail. Sound like you still have you've not yet accepted that it's
at
gone.
The right time. I think at the right. I am thinking about what I would do with my hair like long term.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny for a guy to like say that, but I do think about like, I think I was a big, always like, I feel like almost idolized David Beckham growing up.
Okay.
And so he's probably the most known for his like hairstyles. Yeah, of course, phenomenal.
You're
footballer.
lucky though, because most men, they just know it's going to leave their head at some point. So it's good you have a full.
Yeah, I think I'm happy I've got something to play with, and I'm going to let it, I'm going to do it,
Okay, so
But
I want to see
like,
the old pictures too. I want to see some pictures.
Man.
I mean, I know some people from your old days, so I can just ask somebody.
So my wife mourns my long hair because when I met her, I had long pony, I had the top knot, and I had so the beard was about this size anyway.
Okay.
But she always accuses me of like
conmanship.
What
is it called?
Like,
catfishing.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this boring guy?
Like this guy, like you are not the man that I met
So you have a wife.
I have a
You're a family
wife.
man.
I'm a
Yes.
family man. Look,
Uh-huh.
and I think I now look like one, but I'm gonna change that soon enough. So I
The
have.
tangent that you go on.
Yeah, I'll go on a tangent. I think this is gonna be tangential actually.
all right.
Speaking of, but in a tech way. So I have one wife, happy, excited, love her completely. I have 3 children.
Wow.
As of November last year, we just got our third born.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Boys, girls,
2 boys, 1 girl. So
the
boy,
baby.
girl, boy.
Boy, girl, boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jenga inchi. Feel the
Yeah.
earth.
Filling the earth.
We like that. We like that. What did you study in school?
I studied electronics and computer engineering.
In computer engineering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you then went into employment?
No, I did not.
You didn't go into
I did
employment?
not.
Oh.
Employment is the one thing that I said I would never do.
And you have a talent platform.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
You went back into employment in a different way.
Yeah. But I grew up, so a bit of background. I was just thinking about this recently. I feel like I grew up on stuff that really molded what I wanted to be in future. And one of those things, like, which turned out to be really extremely like formative, and I never really thought about it at that time. When I was growing up, my mom's a career woman, like extremely, driven, corporate, successful, and I'm grateful for that. So, but one of the things that she used to have is she used to have these business magazines in the house. So she would get The Economist, she would get Harvard Business Review, and
Oh, that's super cool. I love
Yeah.
The Economist, by the way. It's so good.
so I was always really, really attracted to like those, and those are the only magazines in the house, right? There wasn't like,
There's no woman's own.
no, yeah. That's the
Reader's
thing.
Digest.
Yeah, we didn't get like the Sweet 16,
Nothing.
like stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was really like serious.
No Hardy Boys. Just
no Hardy Boys.
Economist.
Yeah, like
Okay.
it was like there was like a lot of like business stuff in the house.
That's pretty cool.
And so I grew up like knowing about like some really interesting things, and I grew up on that. Like I would open up these pages, I would read. You just like flipping. Of course, you're looking for the pictures. You want like the car ads and
Yeah.
the perfume
The
ads.
perfumes and
Yeah, but in between, like you'd start seeing about, okay, there's like this GM, there's General Motors, there's like Chevron, Texaco. So I got really interested in like business, and I think by the time I was turning 17, I just thought, I don't think I'm gonna be employed. So I started looking out for like business ideas when I was a teenager.
Wow.
I remember there was an opportunity for Safaricom were interested in around 2005. They're interested in mobile, getting distributors for like credit, airtime, etc. And so I remember I went and I tried to apply to be a distributor, and this was when I was 16.
Like the agents, right?
Yeah. So like you needed like, but I quickly discovered that was not my level. I think you needed like at that time you needed to have 20 million shillings in capital,
Yeah.
just for the amount of airtime that they needed you to be able to buy and distribute for them. So I remember I went to Safaricom, then I went to Telcom, because Safaricom clearly didn't look like it was going to pan out at that point, me 16 needing 20M. And then Telcom needed less, 10 million.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, go ahead, let's see how we could maybe,
16-year-old.
yeah, let's see how we could make it
The
work.
16-year-old, your colleagues, your what is it called? Your age mates.
Yeah.
Well, trying to find the babes.
Yeah.
And you're here trying to open a business.
Yeah, I think it was always interesting to me. So I kind of stayed, and that kind of like has always stayed with me.
Yeah.
So, through the journey of like, even when I finished campus, I was like, definitely I'm not going to work for a living, especially because I studied electronics.
Yeah.
There was only one job I was interested in. I was just telling somebody, because she, I always tell her I'm so jelly of her. She now works at Apple. So I told her there's only one job I ever wanted, and that was at Apple. That's the only job I would have taken. And I remember also writing an email to that effect. I think I found an Apple email. I'm that guy.
So much about you today makes sense
So
now.
I'm that guy. I am that guy. I will, if I want something, I will shoot my shot.
Yeah.
Right? I always say, never say no to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
A lot
it.
of other people say no, but never say no to yourself. So I always have these like ambitious, like wild ideas, and I go after them. That's the difference.
You have a bias for action.
Yeah, everyone has, I think, wild ideas.
Yeah.
I think the difference between the difference maker usually is the people who like they then try and like
Go for it.
go for it. Like, and that's, I mean, we're here because of that, right? Like with you, that's, I think that's a bit of your journey, like having an idea that you think is wild, and then
actually taking the steps to make it come to life.
Leap of faith. So sorry, the Apple thing didn't work out.
Did they reply?
They didn't, no reply. Just saying, whoever, if anyone is listening, your people are horrible. So anyway, so I said I wanted to build electronics. So I actually spent close to a year working on electronics design firm. Mine.
Wow.
The only thing that happened was I went really tangential. This was like the first tangent professionally. I had a call, a spiritual call to know God more and to learn about God. And I really ran away from it because I wasn't religious or spiritual much until around when I was 23. When I was just finishing.
We all had the one that, we all go to church. Our parents made us go to church.
Yeah. But I wasn't like, I wasn't really close to God until like I had a really big encounter with God just when I was 23 years. And then I gave my life like to him. I think I accepted Jesus when I was really small. And then but that I don't think
that one doesn't count.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, but there's the one where you consciously.
So this whole thing with God happened, and then I ran away from that call for a while, but I think it just stuck. And eventually I said, okay, fine. So, I left that work. I went and did my master's in divinity.
Wow.
So that's what my master's is.
I'm learning a lot about you today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So when because even though we were talking about the idea of like telling people something they don't know about me, I'm like, man, I think we could be here a while.
I found out yesterday that Dennis is, did you say he's an apostle or something?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Totally surprised me too.
It's funny what the people, what builders and innovators do.
I'm just there dropping
at night.
dropping F-bombs in front of him, and he's like, may the Lord be with you. No.
So I feel like
I don't drop F-bombs, but
I feel like,
but it actually is good to know that you can be just normal and be spiritual.
And I spent 5 really wild years anyway before that encounter with God. So I always say, look, there's nothing that there's no experience that I haven't lived. So that's what also makes me really comfortable around people who
are all walks.
Yeah, people who are different. Because I have lived that at some point, probably. So did my master's, and then around 2020, this was after I had started like 2 businesses, which were really picking up, but the pandemic crushed both of them. One was in media. The other one was a co-working space. And serendipity. They were both picking up, but the pandemic really killed them, unfortunately. But somebody reached out to me just before the pandemic started, and that opportunity brought me back to IT. So it was an American company. IT services, enterprise software. They would implement, Oracle, SAP, and stuff like that, based out of California, and have a huge back office in Hyderabad, in India. They were looking to launch an office in Nairobi, and so they were looking for somebody who could like maybe set things up. I tried to refer a few people, but I think in our conversations they kind of thought, it looks like you could be the guy that we're looking for,
right?
And I had to think about it, and it seemed right, funny enough. And so I came back into the IT space, but I was selling software. I was creating partnerships, building business. And it allowed me to, I think, get some of the experiences that led me down this path.
Yeah.
Because first, it rekindled my love for tech. That's one thing. Second, it brought me into contact with like small, mid-sized enterprises and really got me tuned back in to like what software can do for
every-
people, for businesses. And I also had an experience where I needed to hire people and I struggled. Like I used to struggle to get like a receptionist. I used to struggle to get like, cleaners or just like entry level, like let's say guys who could implement Oracle and stuff like that. And I always used to ask myself, like, this cannot be this difficult. I remember I went like 4 months looking for a particular like worker.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way. Like, why am I struggling when I know that out there, for sure,
Yeah.
there is a person who fits
Yeah.
this description. Like, I know what I want. I know who I want. I know they're out there. But for the life of me, I cannot find them.
And we also know we need jobs. I mean, this is Africa.
Yeah,
This is Kenya.
I know
You're
there are
like,
people
I
there
know
that
there's
they're
all people that
jobless.
need jobs, but you can't connect them.
I can't connect to the person who's right for this
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
And I feel that frustration really, really stuck with me. And one thing about me, Zisa, is when I get frustrated by something, it really, really like that itch really refuses to leave until I like
Figure it out, solve it,
yeah,
eliminate it.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's probably like the backstory of where we are, right?
Actually, because my next question was going to be, what was the inspiration for creating a jobs platform?
Yeah.
So you answered it already.
Yeah, in fact, what happened in 2023, I was actually, that year I said, you know what? I've always wanted to have a tech startup. I have been following tech for nearly all my life, been a fan of tech for most of my years, but I am in my 30s and I feel like the train is leaving the station and I'm not on it. Like, I feel like if I'm not going to do a tech startup now, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was not comfortable with that idea. So I was researching an idea actually in health tech. And I had a product, I had a problem, I was validating and all that.
What was the problem space?
Problem space was time spent in waiting rooms. I actually just asked myself, what's the biggest problem like with hospitals or within like getting medical care? By that point, I had 2 children, and I remember the frustration of like a routine medical visit.
Yeah.
You know, your day is gone.
Finished.
Yeah. Like if you need to go to the doctor for whatever reason, that's 4 or 5 hours down the drain, and everyone hates it.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the biggest like frustrations people have with medical care.
Yeah.
It takes so long. So I was like, I think there's a better way we can do it, because if Google has figured out how to tell you that, a restaurant has busy hours, like from this time to this time and this time, then I bet you could figure out how to tell patients, like, look, your doctor has just had a medical emergency. It's going to take 4 hours because we collect the data and we can tell you from experience how long that's going to take. Of course, also, there's another huge problem. This is probably I would call it the biggest unsolved problem in the world. There is no single center of truth or repository of truth about your health from when you are born.
Yeah.
Like there's medical data about you, but it is
So fragmented.
across like hundreds maybe of institutions.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're losing out because of that.
Actually, we're trying to solve that. Dr. Nsongo, you should listen to his interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to solve that problem.
That's the idea. So I was working on that.
But actually, even in the US, it's not solved, right? There's a lot of barriers.
It's mess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of barriers, you're right.
Yeah.
There's regulation, there's like
people
big,
want to own.
like big, I would say, like, what's the word? Like big conglomerates also, they do tend to like put a problem on that.
Yeah.
It's been figured out by some countries.
Yeah.
Norway has figured it out. The UAE is working on that.
Okay.
So there's some countries who have like nationalized public healthcare. We'll go to whatever clinic and
they'll know about the other clinics.
Yeah, they know about everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's there. But yeah, so I was trying to work on our Google for Health.
Okay.
What's funny is now I'm working on our Google for Jobs.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody when I was trying to validate this idea, somebody told me about no code platforms, and I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, get out of here!" Because I've never been technical. As much as I'm an engineer, I've never been able, or rather,
You're technical. You're just maybe not a developer.
yeah, I don't code. I tried to code, it refused me, and I've tried like 10 times. But anyway,
I just haven't found the language for you.
I said, let me play to my strengths. Okay. So they told me about no code, and I was like, okay, this is great. Like, this is a game changer for me. So I said, let me just start like fiddling about. I have to build something just for me.
Yeah.
Just for me. And what's funny is Rocket Jobs was that thing I built just for me.
Yeah.
I actually, I was like, let me just think back to like some of the problems that I've had in the past. Is there something that really, really nagged me that I would love to solve?
Why did you pivot from the health?
So what happened was when I built a prototype for Rocket. It wasn't supposed to be serious.
You were just trying to learn no code.
Yeah. And I thought, okay. So I went like from stage to stage. I built it and I was like, oh, actually, this looks like it's pretty nice. And then I started telling people about it. And people are like, oh, this sounds like it's good. And when I started thinking, okay, if I was to do a jobs platform, it probably has to be different. Like one of the big problems I had with job platforms that time is they charge you essentially for nothing. Like it's for putting up your job on a virtual notice board. Right? Yeah. I mean, we know how jobs used to work in the past. Like in the paper or in a mall. Yeah. You'd have a notice board and then somebody say, house help wanted or driver wanted. Yeah. And what's funny is that these new job boards were just digitizing the old job board. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think you're doing any innovation here, right? All you're doing is just giving people an interface to post a job.
You're just changing the
the channel.
The channel.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, or the medium.
Yeah.
From
the medium, that's the word. Yeah.
From like notice board to
online notice.
To online notice board. And I was like, I feel that's wrong. Yeah. I feel like that's daylight robbery, honestly. Yeah. And I totally refused to even pay because I was like, I see no value in this. So I thought to myself, look, if I was going to do this, it has to be done different. Why? Because small businesses don't have the cash to start paying a full month salary or a half month salary just to post a job. And what am I getting in return? Like, I just get like a bunch of candidates to my email. Yeah. Right? It's my...
Like literally, I'm doing all the work.
Yeah. You're not... Like, what are you doing for me in actual fact?
Yeah.
I'm putting this... So I'm paying you. You put this job on your online, like, notice board. And then I get, like, 1,000 emails with applications. So I need to open all of them, download all the PDFs, and then go through all of them. Yeah. So what exactly were you... Like, what was I paying you for? You know?
Eyeballs. That's it.
That's ridiculous.
But you're still charging way more of a premium for eyeballs than you should.
Yeah, that's crazy. You could take out an ad on Google for less than that.
Yeah.
Right? So like I was quite pissed actually about that idea. So I decided to do something about it. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do it, we're not gonna charge companies. Because when you look at like the majority of jobs, I just started doing the research. I started asking myself, okay, what are the highest like sources of jobs in Kenya? And then I started doing some analysis of what was on these other websites. What are the most popular jobs on those websites? There's a huge disparity, right? Kenya's top jobs are from public service, agriculture.
High jobs, or?
No, like the most popular jobs in Kenya are low-level jobs, informal sector. 75% of the market, they come from public sector, education, agriculture, manufacturing, retail, right?
I think what you're saying is, okay, I think I misunderstood. You're saying job boards abroad are typically for like corporate or more higher end jobs.
Even the local
jobs. But like Kenyan jobs are the informal sector jobs, but
Yeah.
how do you find those jobs?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there was a huge mismatch. Like what you will find on a typical job board in Kenya versus what most Kenyans are actually working in, huge mismatch. Because the typical job board has jobs in 3 categories: finance, tech, and NGO. And there's not too many people who in finance. Like how many is a typical worker trained to be a banker
No.
or an accountant?
Yeah.
No.
No.
And
And those people probably already have avenues to
there's a
find those
LinkedIn
jobs.
for that.
Yeah. Oh,
There's a
that's true.
LinkedIn for that,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
the I found that there was a big gap. So this was how it was, like a rabbit hole basically. I didn't intend to really to build rocket jobs. It wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be when I started out. But the journey just led from one thing to the other, and it's come to the point now where my understanding is that it's not just the Kenyan jobs market that's broken. It's the global jobs market that's broken. The majority of jobs are not visible to the majority of people. That's a broken market.
Why do you think that is?
I think that how the history of hiring and finding jobs has always been in the hands the incumbents have always been like jobs magazines, then they became job boards. And along the way, nobody really came up who decided we are going to democratize access to jobs. Access to jobs is always behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And I think that is not the way forward for hiring. Not only that, I think that some of the incumbents have been really opaque about their ability to actually get people jobs.
Yeah.
When you ask around, like, are people really getting jobs on these platforms? Nobody really knows.
Nobody responds. It's like a shot in the dark.
Yeah. And when you think about the modern, even the typical journey about finding a job right now, it's okay. You're going to go and find a job maybe on like some aggregator website or like some website online. You send an application and it basically just goes into the ether somewhere, right? It's like
You don't get
shouting
any
into
feedback, nothing.
Yeah, it's like shouting into a cave.
Yeah.
No, actually, a cave, you get an echo back. It's like shouting into a canyon. So, like, there's nothing. Radio silence coming back.
Yeah.
And you hear about these people who do like 1,000 applications before they get a job.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And you have zero feedback 1,000 times. That's wild.
And you're still supposed to wake up tomorrow and do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I set up, and so like I mentioned earlier, like some stuff, when I think about it, really like starts to piss me off because I'm like, is that the way that the world should work? Is that how we should be living? I feel like that's kind of like my life will always revolve and gravitate around how can we just help people's daily lives be better? I don't dream about like wild, like, abstract things that
space or
despite being called rocket jobs, like I'm not like
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
I'm not trying to like take people to Mars, for example. But I am thinking, look, people have existential everyday problems. Before we start thinking about like problems which we've like brought for ourselves, like can we start thinking about like how technology can solve people's everyday issues.
Everyday stuff.
Like even when I was in campus, like we had this end of like our capstone project, right, for campus. And I built a navigation aid for people who are visually impaired.
Nice.
Right? Because I suddenly thought, okay, there's so many people who are actually visually impaired. Like at that point, it was like 300,000 Kenyans.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot.
And
that's maybe the ones who even about.
Yeah. I mean, that's
probably higher.
Yeah, that's
double
national
that.
numbers, statistics from the government. You never know how accurate it could be. The thing is, what kind of like tech is going into like building like solutions for people who can't like see that helps them to just live everyday life? Because right now, the innovation for helping you to navigate as a blind person is the same stick. Sorry, the same stick that was there
Back
when we were born.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And I
it's-
think now the technology is around like at least in the States, it's like when you're crossing, the lights speak to you.
yeah.
But you're saying, what way is the personalized solution?
Yeah, and I remember that
Yeah.
that I built it was really basic, of course, nothing
Yeah.
advanced. But I just put together like an ultrasound module and a GPS module and an audio, text to audio something that could speak to you.
Yeah.
So that like if you, let's say, are using Google Maps, you could theoretically like walk from here to like center, and it could give you turn by turn directions, right?
Still a really brilliant idea. You should
And I'm
pursue it.
like, it's been 10 years since I came up with that project. Like I think I still will do it.
You should. Yeah.
But the crazy thing is like the tech is there.
Yeah.
Like we keep thinking about solving outrageous problems, outlandish problems, but I feel like the reason why people are so out of touch, even like maybe with AI, I think the reason why people are a bit out of touch with AI is because it seems to be solving problems that people cannot relate with.
Problems which are not my primary problems.
Yeah.
Like the Maslow hierarchy of needs. We are trying to solve the higher needs, yet
Yeah.
like the fundamental needs, which that's what I love so much about rocket jobs.
Yeah.
You're like row 1 or 2, right? Like
Yeah.
I need food, I need shelter. Well, I need a job to
Yeah.
do food and shelter. Yeah.
Basic
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone needs work.
Yeah.
Like unless you are like some kind of trust fund baby, like you are going to get a job in your lifetime. And that job, your first job is probably going to be like an entry level job.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Maybe could be fast food, could be retail, could be marketing, could be social media, could be an internship. And the crazy thing is, where if I ask you today, Nzisa, where are you gonna get? Let's say you have a young nephew or niece, and they say, "I'm looking for an internship or I'm looking for an attachment that my university needs me to get." Where am I
Stuff.
going to get one?
We're doing the traditional way. Unajua mtu,
Yeah.
which is translates to do you know someone?
Yeah.
If you don't know
Do you
someone,
know a
that
CEO?
means
Do you know a business
And even
owner?
nowadays, even knowing that nepotism, thankfully, is kind of gone away from our society.
Yeah.
A lot. So it's tough.
So it's tough. And yeah.
I want to know, like, why rocket jobs? Is there anything specific about that name? That's
Yeah.
like,
I love the name. And I have to admit, other people have. There's like a bunch of other like similar platforms like with a name. But what I think about rocket jobs is, so the most.
and maybe tell us your features. Like,
Yeah.
what are your unique features that are different than another job
Yeah.
board? Yeah.
So we said we wanted to be different from other jobs board in a number of ways. I already spoke about the model, right? And people would scoff at like a go-to-market strategy, but I think it's a huge difference maker.
I think it's genius.
Yeah, like tech is not just tech if you don't have the right go-to-market model.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you built. And I always, like I was telling you like the other day, I think that what makes Google was probably not the tech. The tech is phenomenal. But I think it's their distribution that made them what they are.
Yeah.
They made Google search free.
Yeah.
They made mail free.
Yeah.
And they made maps free. And if they didn't do that, Google would not be universal. It would not be, they would not have 2 billion daily users.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they understood, they took a long view on what they were trying to do in the world. And I like that. I really admire them for that. I think Google is probably one of the most consequential, if not the most consequential company of all time.
I mean, if I speak, I'll be biased, but I do
I
think
know.
they're pretty
so
amazing.
don't speak. Don't say it. Let me
I
say
think they're
it.
pretty
Let me say it because
amazing.
I'm not on their payroll, right? I think Google
I do
is.
still think they're amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I think they're probably the most consequential company of all time. Like, I don't think there's a single company that has changed daily life as much as Google has. And so like that's the type of distribution channel we want. We think that jobs access should be a fundamental right. Like we should have a global utility so that anyone can find jobs. Anyone. You don't need to know anyone. You don't need connections. I want to end that idea that you need connections to. It's nice to have connections. I think referrals are a great way to find jobs because there's a whole
very
trust
small
thing.
percentage of people that have
Yeah,
connections.
but there are tons of talented people who do not have connections.
Yeah.
And they suffer for that lack of connection.
Yeah.
And I want to change that. I think that needs to be fixed immediately. And there's tools to make that happen now. We have AI that can make everything quick. And that's why we chose the name Rocket, because it is the fastest vehicle that man has ever built. And we want to build the fastest way to get jobs. We want the fastest way to get workers. We want the fastest hiring cycle.
I like it.
Period. We want to make, when we think about, when you ask, when I sit down with my team and we ask ourselves, what do we think the future of jobs or hiring should look like? Are we happy with hiring the way it is right now? We're not. We think that you should be able to get a new worker.
People, I mean, at the end of the day, are people getting connected to work?
Yeah. I don't think that people, like, I was reading an interesting fact that the average time it takes for a job to be filled in the US market, where people might think things work better, it takes 42 days for the average job to be filled.
Yeah.
That's a terrible hiring cycle.
It is.
Should a hiring
then
cycle
you add
be that
another
long?
3 months for onboarding.
Onboarding,
That's quite
training.
long. Yeah, 6
It's
months.
ridiculous.
6 months before you can get any fruitful.
Yeah, and we have begun to discover some interesting things about even the US job market. That's why we think that Rocket Jobs could actually have its next destination be there, because large organizations like even Amazon, you'd never think it, but Amazon has its fulfillment centers, right?
Yep.
They have huge numbers of workers, entry level, that they hire for those roles. You'd get they go from, because we did some of this research late last year, so they go between 2,500 and 4,500 per fulfillment center.
Wow.
And their onboarding costs are around, like their training cost, onboarding and training is around $3,000 per person. And they have, some of these fulfillment centers have turnover of 70 people per week.
Wow.
Per week. So they have to onboard 70 people per week. They spend $3,000 on them, like on each person. That means there's $210,000 these guys are putting down every week on recruitment and training.
Wow.
And their training is 2 days max. We're not talking about long training.
Yeah, it's
48 hours.
Sorry to say, but it's pretty straightforward work.
Yeah.
Pack the boxes, pick the box. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's 48 hours.
Yeah.
It costs $3,000. So 210,000 on that. That's their bill. So
How can Rocket Jobs change that?
I think one of the things it can do is it can improve retention. That's one of the things that we're probably interested in. And the other thing that we're interested in is, can we use AI to speed up this process? Can we use it to cheapen the process for some of these larger guys? But our big intention is actually for smaller businesses. Most small businesses don't have a HR person.
No.
They don't have a hiring team.
Yeah.
And they struggle because you have this one person who's everything in the business. And we want to give them something that can give them a competitive advantage, right? Because this small business is supposed to compete with a large company that has a whole HR talent department.
Capacity.
This person is supposed to be competitive. How can you be competing with an entity that has a whole team for one function that you do?
Yeah.
Right? So we want to equalize. And I think that's what AI can do, If you can have somebody, an agent in your pocket, right? That basically can do the basic hiring stuff for you. Can do the posting, can do the responding, can do the interviewing. I think it fundamentally changes even how we think about hiring.
Did you say interviewing?
Yeah, why not?
So an agent interviewing me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, if you could do the basic stuff.
Sure.
Because right now, interviews can be multi-stage.
Oh, the screening stuff.
Yeah. So you could do the testing, right? Most employers at a small business level can't do testing.
True.
Right? Because it's also costly.
Yeah.
So I feel the commercial opportunity, even for Rocket Jobs, is not in the posting. I think that's basic, right? It's like charging somebody to do a Google search. It's a ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
You could really commercialize on other things, and technology allows us to do that. One thing that peeves me about incumbents in jobs right now is because they've spent so much time charging for stuff they shouldn't, they've been really slow to innovate. Because they feel like they don't need to build if they're like charging for like already like the posting.
Yeah. It
Why-
gives you a false illusion that you're doing all right.
But like if you think about like, okay, if you say we are not going to charge for job posting, then you have to get creative about how you're going to make money.
Of course. Yeah.
And one of the things that you will notice about many job boards is they don't innovate much. Like you can look back 5 years, look at the job boards that you know. Have they changed?
No.
Is there any new features?
Search for a job.
Same thing. Same thing as it was 10 years ago, right?
Maybe Easy Apply is the only one they've added.
Yeah. But really, there's very little stuff they're doing. And what we are building, I think, is going to really shake things up.
Okay.
And we're excited about that.
All right. So you've talked about AI, and I know you're also very keen on AI because that's how we met. So you posted this LinkedIn post talking about AI. I love AI. I'm obsessed. And for me, what was the most interesting is you have this vision. We have aligned vision on that.
Yeah.
That Kenya can really be an innovator,
Yeah.
not just a consumer.
Yeah.
We want to become producers.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to me a bit about what's your vision with the AI community and how do, like, what is it even?
Yeah.
Which, first of all, I actually love the name, which I don't want to give it away. But it's obvious when you hear it. But yeah.
So we're starting an AI community in Nairobi. We want Nairobi to become an AI capital of the world. Nairobi is a city that has it's a unique city. It has AI in it, right? Nairobi, right? It's AI. The AI is baked
Still
inside.
blows my mind that I missed that. So obvious.
I feel like it's fate. I feel like it was like it was like the name was put there for a reason and for a time and a season.
I like it.
And I think this is that time. I think that, I mean, everyone is hype about AI right now. There's no doubt about that. So we could easily be accused of just jumping on the AI bandwagon and trying to benefit from the hype or the money or the capital that's flowing into AI. This is not my way of thinking. I think I was never really excited by AI to begin with. I mean, I was blown away by ChatGPT, right? But I never really I never gravitated to it like in the way that maybe I gravitate to other things instantly, like movies or cars or stuff that I like. But one of the things that when I sat and thought about it, I saw the power. When I witnessed the power of AI and what AI is going to achieve, I think I realized that Kenya has to become a leader in AI. When I thought about the history of development and the history of Africa, I realized that I think one of the reasons why Africa is where it is we've never really led in any major technology stretching back hundreds of years, whether it was the steam engine or the railway or the phone or the aeroplane or, wireless services, internet, computers, satellite, electricity.
Yeah.
We were always last to receive stuff. And not only that, we always remained consumers.
Yeah.
We've never really become producers of many things. It's shocking.
Yeah.
We all have phones now, right? Mobile phone uptake in Africa is huge.
Yeah.
But we don't build the phones. We don't make the phones. And it's always been a sorrowful thing for me. I've always been keen on Africa's growth. I feel like that's maybe what drew me into this to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate about Africa succeeding. I'm tired of the idea or the narrative that we remain poor. When I was born, we were poor as a continent. I certainly will not let it be so when I die.
Yeah. And not only that, your children. We gotta agitate a bit.
Because my children live here. I don't want to, I've thought about, why don't you just up and leave? Let's just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I sit and think about other places, and I always feel like Yo, but Nairobi is the best place though. Like Nairobi is actually phenomenal weather all year round. It's beautiful people.
Yeah.
There's great vibe. There's culture. There's music. There's life.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable.
We have beautiful terrain. There's just
Yeah.
we have oceans and
Yeah.
islands and
And if you're
everything in between.
watching, just for the record, like if you're watching this and you're not in Nairobi, if you're not based in Africa, this is the biggest reason
Yeah.
why you should be based here. Like there's other places that you could work, super hot or super cold.
Yeah.
Like super unsafe.
Yeah.
Right? We are a phenomenal it's English is our first language.
Yeah.
The typical person in the streets knows English,
Yeah.
right? We are a phenomenal place for the world to come to. We just need to create it.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why I am keen on Nairobi becoming an AI capital is because it's like all the other technologies that we've missed out on, those trains left. I don't think this train has left the station. I don't think the AI train has left the station, but I think it's leaving soon.
And Nairobi is going to be in it.
Yeah.
Kenya.
Has to be.
Africa.
Have to be on the train. I always point out these three major technologies I think are going to be consequential for the world in this century. AI, robotics, and life sciences.
I agree. Yeah.
If Africa does not lead in one of these three, we are going to be so messed. If we think things are bad, I think we are going to live out a supreme horror story.
Yeah.
And my children live here.
Yeah.
I am not prepared to leave like that type of world for my son, my daughter, and my other son.
Yeah.
When my son turns 30 years, Kenya's population is going to be 100 million people.
Mostly under 19, right?
Yeah. If we think that we have a problem getting jobs right now,
it's going to be multiplied. Yeah, exponential. Yeah. Like it.
So
what are some of your goals with the community?
My thinking is that,
or at least your initial goals.
Yeah. My thesis is that for the African success story is reliant not on governments. I think we know.
Yeah.
I think we know. We know the backstory. We don't need to go into it.
No, we don't need to do that.
We don't need to go into it. But I think that the African success story really hinges on highly passionate business builders, people who can build large enterprise, not small business. And my thing is, if you want to build a large enterprise, you can't sell in, like the African market gives you, like there's a ceiling.
Yeah.
So you need to think about solving global problems. I don't know who told Africans that they have to solve African problems only. I don't understand. I know we have many problems. We do. But, business is what happens when you combine problem and capacity to spend. It's not just solving a problem.
Problem and capacity to spend.
Yeah. You just can't solve a problem. You have to solve a problem for somebody who can pay.
That someone's willing to pay.
Yeah.
They have to have the willingness.
Yeah.
To pay. Yeah.
Those are the two ingredients. And we always focus on, let's solve African problems.
Yeah. But who's paying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to have a frank conversation with ourselves about that.
Yeah.
Because there are people in other parts of the world who did have that conversation. And when they decided to start building some large global products like Skype, which came from Estonia.
And Estonia is like a beautiful story.
Their population is the size of Mombasa. They literally are 1.4 million people. The population of Mombasa. They have more unicorns bred out of Estonia than all of Africa combined.
What I like about your vision is like the way Estonia had Skype. Skype became a success. And then they turned around. And that's what I think people miss. You're focused on building for this solution.
Yeah.
But if you think bigger term or like larger scale, Estonia built Skype. Well, one guy, however many, built Skype. Then they turned around and they reinvested in the next founders.
Yeah.
So all those, it's like a trickle-down effect of the one decision by the one founder.
Yeah.
And I think for me with Clutch, even you with the AI community, we hope that it can be like that same, like if we are successful, we turn around and build success.
Yeah.
with
On
the
top
next,
of that.
On top of that, right? Like, I mean, the money points, and Nigeria is very good at this. So Kenya, we need to we have some work to do.
So that's the thing. I think that there is something unique about startup founders. Whenever they become successful and they experience exits, because I think the exit is really key. When startup founders experience exits, the next thing they become is investors. It almost always happens.
I think it's because you know where the shoe pinches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And they make the best investors.
They do, because they're operators
Yep.
who turn into investors. And they also understand risk.
Yeah.
They also understand that, look, it's not, startups are mostly destined to fail. Startups are not designed to succeed. Most of them fail, but they understand that.
Yeah.
They understand risk. They understand that this is probably a moonshot idea, but if it succeeds, the ball changes. And they are willing to take a bet on that. That's what makes startup founders who are successful different from all other types of high net worth individuals, maybe who make their money
and then
in
they
manufacturing or
bounce and go.
agriculture. Usually,
they keep their money to themselves.
they don't.
Founders are very generous.
Yeah,
actually.
founders
Yeah.
have a really giving spirit.
Yeah.
And so my thing with this community is, can we manufacture a startup or a startup team, a team of builders that's going to experience a really gigantic exit? I came to realize not like sometime last year that if Africa is going to succeed, it will never be because of rocket jobs. Even if rocket jobs became the size of Google, one mega cap African company will not be
No, we
enough
can't.
to turn around Africa into a first world continent. And that's what I am trying to go for.
Yeah.
I think that you need we always sing about Safaricom, right? Safaricom has done amazing things. I think Africa needs 5,000 Safaricoms.
There's a guy, Steven. I don't know which is Steven Ishatha, a friend of mine. A couple other people who always every Kenyan we trot out the Safaricom story when we're saying we've had lots of success in technology,
Yeah.
and we all use Safaricom.
One story.
It's been how many years?
Yeah.
How many years?
Yeah.
We can't.
That we should
need
let
something
go of
in
that
this
crutch.
decade, at least in this decade, if not this year.
Yeah, we should have new
Yes.
examples, because you can't be hinging on something that M-Pesa was launched in 2007.
Yeah,
It's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
We really can't be
We need some good African stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
you're thinking
my thing is,
pool of AI engineers.
yeah, let's first identify amazing AI talent in Nairobi.
AI talent.
I think it's extremely
Can
possible.
I just say in Kenya?
Yeah, in Kenya, yeah.
you know.
I don't want to discriminate. Of course, yes, I say Nairobi a lot. I also don't want to say it's necessarily even Kenya, right? Because the region is blessed. We don't want to lock people out.
But you have to start somewhere. So we niche down. We'll start Nairobi because it's practical.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we first start by identifying these people, there's easy ways to do it, right? We're not going to put down so much money. A hackathon will help you find amazing talent. There's people who do amazing things. They get discovered by multinationals right under the noses of people in Nairobi. Sometimes you get a teenager, they build some ridiculous thing. I remember one teenager, I can't remember his name, but he got a job at Twitter. I don't even think he had gone to college yet.
Wow.
He built something and he got, went to Twitter. Some university students, I think because they're so bright, but they're not challenged, they could even resort to some darker side of dev work, right?
They're already
guys
there.
who become
there are people who are doing
hackers.
some hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happens when somebody is looking for something and they're not getting the outlet. It's somebody brilliant. Everything is easy for them. And they're look, I'm trying to do something that's more challenging than this. So my thing is, I want to find that type of person. I think there's tons of them. And when we find them, let's start working with them to build validated ideas. And not just validated ideas that solve Kenyan problems or African problems, but global problems. Because the great thing about AI is it is like a new canvas.
Yeah.
people have used different ways to like analogize AI. Some have called it the new electricity. Others have
new
called it
industrial
the new
revolution.
industrial revolution. I might even call it like the new fuel, like
Yeah.
fuel that
More, it's
like
really
that,
fundamental.
yeah, like a fuel that does things that fuel could never do in the past. Something that's so radical that you have to now start thinking about building new types of cars. Like you have to think, you have to
I think it's
rethink
even
cars.
worse than that. I think AI is like water, but people
Yeah.
don't understand that yet. And unfortunately, it's going to be like everything else,
Yeah.
where we sleep and then when we wake up, we find it embedded in everything,
It's gonna
but
be in
it's
everything.
behind us.
Yeah.
Like we're behind it. Sorry, like it's past us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think that like the what AI presents is an opportunity to like reframe everything. I was listening to a talk by some of the partners of Y Combinator, and they were talking about how, for example, SaaS products or SaaS companies are under huge
Yeah.
threat
Yeah.
by agentic
Yeah.
products, because the SaaS product does task for you, but the agentic product replaces not just the software but also the person who's doing that particular task, because it can make some choices and some decisions. And so at a lower level, you could actually get some agentic software that's doing really crazy things. And these SaaS companies are under threat, just like they were a threat to traditional box, like the software that you used to download
Yeah.
from a CD-ROM
Yeah.
into your computer and then like install.
Yeah.
SaaS supplanted those companies, right? And there are a lot of guys who are saying that AI, verticalized AI startups are going to be a huge threat to those SaaS startups.
I do think, SaaS was good. It had its moment, but
Yeah.
I've always been like a systems thinker, and I'm more interested to see like systems, like more like horizontal implementations versus just the SaaS implementations. And with that, even they're saying that it's going to be, Naval was saying recently that actually the future is going to not be like big companies. It's going to be lots of little solutions that integrate with each other to provide like a system view. So it's very interesting. But that also brings the opportunity to participate closer to home.
Yeah.
Because then it's not so, yeah.
Yeah, I think now.
And it also spreads the wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it does. I think that the question is going to be who builds these solutions, who provides this value, who can understand, what the needs of maybe a global community of businesses or companies are. And I think that's where I feel like this meeting you was so like serendipitous, because you are based in California.
The heart of, San Francisco, the heart of AI.
In the heart of AI.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Kenyans, really successful, really talented, who are based around where you are. And so they have an understanding of some of these business needs. And you do need that. You need these two ingredients to like work together. Yes, you need highly talented people.
We need talent.
But you need to know what the needs
What's
are.
the global
you
view?
You need to know
Yeah.
the global view. You need to know the global problem.
Yeah.
So that if you can't just, I don't think it's possible to like just cook this stuff up in your brain without actual engagement and interaction with your potential customer.
And I think also, San Francisco has done they've done a lot of legwork over the years that we can learn from.
Yeah.
So you mentioned hackathons. One of the first things we want to do is collaborate on this
Yeah.
cross-continent hackathon with a few AI leaders from the West. So I'm
Exactly.
excited to see and explore that.
Yeah.
So you have the jobs platform, and you have this AI community.
Yeah.
What are like some initial like is there someone you remember who you like from getting a job? What was like a highlight you can think of? And also like what have been some challenges that and maybe some suggestions on if anyone is listening that can unlock some of those like challenges for you?
So I would say the biggest highlight with regards to like with building rockets so far, two of them really quickly. The first one was, I remember our the fourth job that was posted on Rocket Jobs, was from a bar in Mombasa. and they were looking for a bartender. They were actually looking for waitresses and a bartender. They had never heard about, like, we had never marketed Rocket Jobs to them, and they never even called. There was no prior contact. So this person basically just discovered Rocket Jobs online via their own means. They tried posting, and then it just worked. And that's our vision for posting.
Without any onboarding, without
No
any
demos, no.
Oh, it's truly free.
It's free. It's
okay.
like, it's self-service. You show up, you post.
I love
It's
that.
like setting up a Facebook account. And I loved that our fourth job was a job where we had no contact with the employer, no engagement at all. They came in, they posted the job. Of course, we had to work. That time we had really very few like users.
Yeah.
So we had to work hard to actually get people to apply.
Okay.
That's the problem of a two-sided marketplace, right? But the excitement was that the thesis was proving itself. We said
Zero
that
marketing. So now imagine if you have a bit of marketing.
Exactly. Like if you remove the barriers to employers posting jobs, the employers will post the jobs. And in the it's now around 8 months since we launched Rocket. We have over almost 600 employers who have posted jobs on Rocket.
Wow.
And we have had over 800 jobs. And you know what's crazy? We still have a problem filling those roles. Actually, we have an applications problem. We don't have a jobs problem. And that's why...
And most people think there's no jobs.
Hey, that's why my Rudy says
I do
job
like
Zico.
That. Job Zico.
Right?
For the non-Swahili speakers, what is that?
It means there are jobs.
There are jobs.
Right?
There are jobs.
The jobs are there.
Yeah.
Because in Kenya, most young people say there are no jobs. And I used to think so. But my experience with Rocket has taught me otherwise. We get really interesting, outlandish jobs. So
also practical. I'm not saying for practical, but like you get a lot of jobs which have a low barrier to entry.
Yeah. Like we get like last month we got 3 car wash jobs.
I love
that. Okay. We get a lot of jobs for like digital marketing, social media marketing, stuff that doesn't need like a degree, right? Necessarily. There like a lot of intern roles. Teacher roles. You'd be surprised how hard it is to find a job if you're a teacher in Kenya. Like you will not see those jobs anywhere, and yet the schools are so many. There's always schools opening up. There's always businesses opening up. They're looking for people. If you build something that works for them, they will come.
Yeah.
And I have been excited to see that happening. The second thing I've been excited to see happening is actually people getting the jobs.
Yeah.
We really doubled down as a platform on our efforts for people to be able to know actually how many people get jobs on our platform. Because people struggle to know whether platforms are effective. And people don't trust platforms in Kenya because there's a lot of toxicity, there's a lot of scams, there's a lot of fake job platforms.
Yeah.
So we've had to put in a lot of effort just to be able to prove that, hey, people do get hired.
I think it's also good that people are seeing you, like so they can
there's
identify
a
you,
face,
they can find you.
Yeah. I'm at Clutch Foundry. You can find me here.
If there are problems.
If you've got problems.
Yeah.
We've decided to really invest in like the hiring cycle for employers. It might be free for them, but they have 14 days to shortlist these candidates.
Okay.
And when they do, if they shortlist or they reject, candidates get feedback.
I love that.
When you shortlist on Rocket Jobs, people get SMSs. When you don't shortlist them by rejecting, they get an SMS. When they send an application through, they get a confirmation text from Rocket. So we're investing in transparency.
Yeah.
And we think that any global jobs utility has to be able to provide that transparency for its users, and also feedback.
And feedback, because, I think it's also so good. Yeah.
I used to, before Rocket Jobs, when I was doing that thing where I was like, okay, am I going to build it? Will I not? So I used to look at a lot of like the job boards and platforms and the job listings. And I always used to see this line which started like itching me a bit. It always used to say, only shortlisted candidates will be contacted.
Oh.
And I started asking myself, okay, what about the guys who are not shortlisted?
Which is the majority.
Which is always the majority. What happens to them?
They just sit hoping and praying and waiting months later.
And
are you saying
this
that-
person is in the dark.
Are you saying that you give feedback on why they were?
We do.
Why you were rejected or passed on?
Yeah. So what we have right now is a very basic framework.
Okay.
When you click, let's say reject as an employer, there's a drop down with like quick options that allow you to just select, okay, I didn't select them because of their lack of experience or the lack of
But it's actionable
education,
insights that someone
or
gets.
the lack of, let's say, some must-haves. Maybe I said you need to know 3 languages. There's an employer who recently posted that they want a German tutor. If you're, by the way, if you are German trained, so like German tutor, French tutor. So if maybe that's a must-have and you don't meet that qualification, then they might say, okay, you didn't have a must-have. So you will not just know that you were not selected.
You get a
know
bit of info
why.
as to why.
We are really going to double down on that. Like that is something which we want to build into. And you did mention like challenges. Like one of the things that we have as a challenge is we need more compute like resources. We want to kind of build out our own AI. I think there's an opportunity to build like our own model for careers, for professional work, for talent management. Why? Because smaller models that are really like specialized are going to be useful, like more useful to users over time than large models. And one of the things that's really interesting, an opportunity that's interesting for us, is we have an opportunity to build that type of model and provide really extra value, interesting like insight, data, not just to employers or like users, but even third parties. So that's a challenge for us. We have
compute and
we
just
need
technology
larger resources. We want to build some of this stuff out. We would love to have partners, who could just like help us with that initial phase, training and like fine tuning, maybe our own model,
like the localizing.
Yeah, and that
I've met quite a few people. So when I get back, that's one of the challenges for me is to find technology partners.
Yeah, because we do have like our own AI supply. Like our platform uses AI in a number of ways. For when you don't need a job description on Rocket Jobs, it generates one for you. When you upload your resume, it takes that and calculates
really cool.
your years of experience. It calculates it knows intuitively all the industries you've worked in based on the company you said you worked for, and. But we are paying,
of course you're paying for the compute.
AI, for that compute, and we are consuming. And it brings me back to what I was saying. We've always been consumers. I think we want to now start producing, so that we can be the guys on the other side of the desk.
But we need to own the infrastructure too.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. This has been a great conversation, and I think the most important thing for anyone who's listening, because I don't think out of all the talks we've had, there are many talks we'll have, but this one is probably the most practical for everyone, because everyone knows at least one person that's looking for a job.
Yeah.
So how do they find these jobs? Or if you're an employer looking to post, or you've had these jobs, but there's not enough. Your flywheel is still in the process, right?
Yeah.
So how do people find you?
So you can find me personally. I think LinkedIn is the best way to find me.
Okay.
Which is great because a lot of job seekers are on LinkedIn.
Sure. But not for the kind of jobs you post.
Yeah. They do search there, but they will not find them. So just to find me personally, LinkedIn is a really great way. To find Rocket Jobs, just Google Rocket Jobs.
Rocket Jobs?
Yeah. It's rocket-jobs.com, but literally if you Google Rocket Jobs,
they'll find you.
Probably the first result.
Good job on your SEO.
Thank you. So you're going to find it. When you get to the platform, you're going to see a logo like this.
Okay.
JobZico. So you're not going to miss it. If you want to post a job, it is free of charge. You can do it in 5 minutes. Hundreds of employers have proven that is true. And we do have some large employers, like, not just small businesses, but like some of the large employers like Java uses Rocket Jobs now, Big Square uses Rocket Jobs.
Good job.
So like we do have like some large insurance companies, Britam, Madison, Prudential. We have had jobs from them the past 3 weeks. So there's a lot of guys who are actually looking for workers.
I feel like your logo I can sit on a bus.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic, like put it on a bus.
Yeah,
Job
so we want to
seeker.
go wide like that. Of course,
Yeah.
like we are looking to raise capital like in
Sure.
the next couple of months.
Okay.
So that's that will help us to market. Really, our major need as a platform is marketing. More
Just
people to know.
feed both sides.
Yeah,
of
just
this
for more
market.
people to know about Rocket Jobs and the
Okay.
value that we offer. Yeah, so if you're a company, post for free. It's easy, it's fast, and you will get people not to a crowded inbox, but on your own account where you can have AI-based filters to get you to the person you want to shortlist like really quickly, like in 30 minutes. Shortlisting, like companies shortlist on Rocket Jobs in half an hour.
I like it.
And that's something that many employers have told us.
Okay.
If you're a job seeker, Rocket Jobs is so easy. Only it is the simplest application process you will ever find. I guarantee it. Why?
I think also because you're
you
doing a
don't
lot
even
of inference. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
and we don't have forms.
Yeah.
Like when you are like applying for your first job on Rocket, there's no like long form.
Okay.
Like, oh, fill in this, fill in that, fill in this, fill in that.
What do they do? They just upload their CV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every application on Rocket Jobs just asks for one thing, your CV.
Your CV.
You just upload your CV, it will take care of everything else. It's going to get your name, it's gonna get your email, it's gonna get your number, it's gonna get all of your work history. You will not need to set up anything. Like, because the system does it for you. It's super easy. Hands, like almost like mama look, no hands. And not only that, we also realize that, and this is something other platforms they haven't thought about. I don't know why. People have different types of jobs. Like people have different like backgrounds and they've done different types of work. Sometimes a salesperson has also done work as a cashier or as a receptionist, and they are looking to apply to like
Multiple.
cashier roles, sales jobs. So Rocket Jobs allows you to have multiple profiles
For all the different
for
skills
all the
you've
different
had.
types of jobs you want to apply for. So you can have your sales profile and then your receptionist profile and then your marketer profile. And when you upload your resume, it basically tells you, or it's very cool actually. You can name the profile. You can say, okay, Anthony Munyi, marketer, and then all of your work history is there. You can delete the stuff that doesn't belong
To
the
that
marketer,
marketer role.
to the marketer
Oh,
role.
that's clever.
And then you can add stuff maybe that you haven't
you
put
haven't
up recently, and then you can save that as your marketer profile.
I like it.
So it's a really it needed to be simple. We've built it to be simple, and so I just want people to experience it. We want a lot of. We have a bold target this year. We want 1 million users
Okay.
in Kenya.
Okay.
We have some big goals. We do want to go global. We, like I mentioned, it's a global problem, and we are working towards that. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you.
Great convo. And I look forward to building this AI community. That's a big passion of mine. I equally agree that Nairobi and Kenya can spearhead the future of AI in Africa.
Yeah, we have the right stuff. The ingredients are there. So we just need to double down and sweat for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you, Anthony. That brings us to the end of another episode of Keep It Clutch, where we talk to founders who are solving the biggest challenges in Kenya and Africa. And we look forward to seeing you on our platforms. We're at Clutch Foundry. You can find us on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. And you can also follow me, Nzisa Kilu. And keep it clutch, and let's see you on the next one. Cheers.